Welcome to Dad Talk Today. My name is Eric Carroll, and we have an amazing show lined up for you. We are fighting for fathers all across the United States and all across the world where you can be glad to be dad. Stick around, guys. Dad Talk Today is about to begin. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dad Talk Today. I'm joined here with Melissa Isaac, and we have Mr. Kevin Sorbo on the podcast today. Kevin, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing great,
Awesome.
brother. Yeah,
Good
man.
to hear.
It's so good to talk to you again. You know, Kevin, I sent you an email not long ago. We're facing a lot of censorship, and I'd like to talk about that a little bit. We was talking down to you at CPAC. You gave a great speech about the fatherless issue. We put it on Instagram. It took off next day. I had a 30-day ban from Facebook, which you are no stranger to. You've been facing a little bit of censorship yourself here lately.
Facebook took me down about 2 months ago. Yeah, just took me right down. They don't like Zuckerberg doesn't like the truth. He likes to live in his little golden palace and live in the lie. He believes in the darkness. He believes in anger and hate and destruction and divisiveness. That's what he's all about. People keep forgetting, when he started Facebook, it was rating babes on the campus of Harvard. The whole thing with him. We're the feminists when it comes to a guy like that. That's the whole thing how Facebook even started. But, he gets the pass on that. But I can post the truth and say, hey, here's what these doctors are saying about face masks. What do you think? Hey, here's what all these other people are saying out about voter fraud. What do you guys think? But that got me taken down. He's a bit of a wuss, that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, we were getting touted as conspiracy theorists. There's a lot of these things that was out there, and it's coming to pass. And I think it's, it really says something about people when they try to censor another point of view. And
why does he have more power over the First Amendment than the government does?
Right.
And then I don't know if you saw this, but I left California 2.5 years ago. We live in Florida. We got the best governor in the country with DeSantis, and he signed into law here about 6 weeks ago saying if Facebook, Twitter, whatever takes you down, you have a right to sue them for up to $100,000. So Facebook's reply was, "Hey, that's against the First Amendment," and it's like, oh my God, it's like everything they project out there that you are guilty of, they're already doing against the First Amendment. They're the ones who are banishing the First Amendment. I mean, they're taking you down, taking me down. I mean, it's insanity.
Oh, DeSantis is a beast, ain't he?
He's awesome.
Oh man, I'm really starting to enjoy him. But guys, this is an important thing. I know we talk about the fatherless issue, what's going on inside in the family law courts, but if we face censorship and we don't have those avenues and those platforms to get that out, and they try to suppress that message, and believe me, that's a message that's going to be suppressed. We want you to know there are alternatives out there. We just got sponsored by MyPillow, and we're up on Frank's speech now. I would tell you to go check that out. Kevin, we have a mutual buddy, Jeff Brain with Clout Hub. Jeff is doing amazing things.
Clout Hub is, I'm giving you two places, Clout Hub and Free Space. Check out Clout Hub and Free Space. Clout Hub is completely conservative. You can say things, they're not going to take you down for speaking the truth. And Free Space is run by a bunch of Christian guys and conservative guys, good guys. Great guys. In fact, one of the founders, Jacob Boyens, is also a filmmaker. I'm about to do a movie with him later next year in South Africa. He's South African, called Brothers. And then we got, which kind of goes with dads, right? Brothers.
Yep.
And then we have, we just finished shooting a pilot for a new television series called Pieces, which is a really wonderful drama dealing. I run a camp for troubled teens, and boy, do we have a lot of troubled teens in America today.
And I think a lot of the trouble comes from not having fathers in the home.
There's no question.
Without a doubt. Man, you got lots of projects coming up. I see we got to see the trailer to Reagan that's coming out next year. I know you're going to be a part of that. Tell us about some of the projects you're working on.
You mentioned Reagan. I play the younger Ronald Reagan's pastor, and that's going to be played by David Henry. A lot of people know him from the movies he's been in, but also he was a big hit in years on Disney. And then I've got in theaters right now is The Girl Who Believes in Miracles. Please check it out. It's a wonderful family movie. It's Mira Sorvino's in it. Peter Coyote's in it. Just a really wonderful family drama. It's been out now for 7 weeks. Later this month, I have One Nation Under God. That's coming out. That's a high school drama deal. We're putting that phrase back into our Pledge of Allegiance in our schools. So God bless America. I hope that happens. And then I'm a movie that I directed and starred in called Miracle in East Texas. It's a true story set in 1930 about 2 con men that would woo widows out of their money in fake oil wells. And they actually strike oil right in the heart of the Depression in 1930. It ends up being the largest oil find in the world. True story. I'm in it. John Ratzenberger's in it. Tyler Maine's in it. Lou Gossett Jr. is in it. I mean, it won 10 awards at 10 film festivals, and it's going to come out in theaters this September. It's wonderful. And then I'm directing the next Left Behind movie. So those fans of Jenkins and LaHaye's books that sold 80 million copies, this is the 3rd one in the installment of the Left Behind. And it's a really, really good script. I'm looking forward to it. And I forgot to mention to you earlier when we talked, I'm filming a Western called Trailblazers that Antonio Sabato's doing. And
I love Antonio.
We got Dean Cain in it. We got I got a big cast in. I think Gina Carano's going to be in it as well. The one they booted off from The Mandalorian. She's going to be in it. And we got a really good cast. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're shooting that in New Mexico.
Good deal. So, Kevin, we talk about the cancel culture and the censorship on social media, but it doesn't end there. So, Eric and I have spoken to several people who left Hollywood, who are in Hollywood, and there's sort of this idea within Hollywood that if you're a conservative or if you voice conservative views, you'll be canceled out of Hollywood as well. You seem to be very busy with movies, TV shows, and productions. Can you sort of talk about that culture in Hollywood and how you are being so successful as a vocal conservative?
Well, I was the grandfather of the cancel culture, because Hollywood canceled me about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I started getting vocal. I said, I get tired of the hypocrisy that's on these movie sets and television sets. So I would challenge people, and not in an angry way. I mean, here's the difference. We need to be as organized as they are on the left, without the anger, the hate, the divisiveness, the destruction. We need to be as passionate as they are, but be organized and as organized as they are. But yeah, I got canceled early. My agent manager said, "See you later. Can't work with you anymore." And I went, "Wow." And you guys are the ones that scream for tolerance all the time. But it's a one-way street with Hollywood. And it's unfortunate. I don't harbor that anger and hatred if somebody has a different point of view on me. That's what this country was founded on, was freedom of speech. It was founded on Judeo-Christian values, by the way, and now they're trying to cancel God. You see that happening everywhere. Mm-hmm. So it's there, and I just said I love this business, so I formed my own production company. I've been in business a long time. I've had a lot of connections, so it just sort of the flow just kept going. I still got booked for independent movies that were coming out of Hollywood, so to speak, but they weren't going to look for me for any big budget ones anymore, or television series, and that's fine. I mean, it's sad to me and it's ridiculous to me and it's very infantile, but they're like little children. They're like angry little children. They have their little temper tantrums and they can't get their way. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to go do movies that have hope, faith, redemption, love, forgiveness, laughter, things that Hollywood just doesn't want to do anymore. They just want to put up more violence and more anger out there. So you see that in hypocrisy of all these stars that are in these movies where they're just killing people left and right. And then when there's gun violence in America, they're the first to come out and speak out and go, "We got to get rid of guns." Well, then they should, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to name You know which action stars I'm talking about. So they need to start getting out there and doing movies that have a better message instead of a negative one.
100%. And speaking about the cancel culture in Hollywood, Kevin, it is nothing new. I mean, we've been seeing it for years. The dad is always the bumbling idiot, the guy that doesn't know how to take care of his family. And Hollywood has done a very good job at making fathers look like idiots. Why do you think they integrate that into these movies?
I don't know. You see it in every sitcom too. The dad's fat and kind of dopey. The teenage kids they have make fun of them. There's no respect. There's no honor to their father in these things. The mother's always kind of a babe and she's the smart one and knows everything, but the dads are idiots. Every time you see a movie, if there's one that's conservative, he's the moron. They show Christians as just these over the top Bible, and there are some out there like that. I get that.
There are, yeah.
I'm not one of them, but I mean I'm still a believer, But they've done such a job of brainwashing the public over the last 50 years, and now you see what's being played in our schools. I mean, from kindergarten through universities now, they're telling kids hate God, don't vote any other way except for socialism and communism. These people These young adults have no clue of what socialism truly is and what communism is. We need, with our tax dollars, let's ship them all to North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela, plenty of places around the world. There's a lot of places around the world. I'm not going to name other countries. I'll take it really offensive. But those countries, there's nobody taking boats from Key West to Cuba, right?
Right.
There's no America is not rushing the Mexican border to get into Mexico. And there's reasons for that. And yet this country, with all the crap that's going on, people still want to come to this country more than any other country every year.
Yep. And, Kevin, this last weekend, I watched a documentary on Norman Lear, I think his name was, and I had no idea on the impact that he had on society. So he came up with the television shows like, All in the Family, I think The Jeffersons, and he was a feminist. He was a self-proclaimed proud feminist, and his sitcoms really started a revolution among the people. So, and at the time, I think without knowing it, but too many parents, even nowadays, they sit their kids in front of the TV or they send them off to the movies, not realizing that the information is sinking in, and using your word, the kids are being brainwashed. So what would you tell these parents out there, knowing what you know from the entertainment industry? What advice would you give to the parents who just give their kids the remote control or send them off to the movies, knowing what you know and knowing how it affects children and our population in general?
Well, I think people are waking up. I think parents are starting to wake up too. We're at a tipping point right now, and I think the majority of people in this country tend to be more conservative than liberal, or to believe in socialism and communism. I think there's more. We just need to be more vocal about it. We just need to be more organized about it, and not back away. The press has so much power. Walt Disney said, movies and television will influence our youth. He said that back in the 1950s. You see the way it's influenced today. You see the BLM, the Antifa guys. They say they're against fascism. We all know they're actually the fascists. But they destroy people's businesses, attack people with baseball bats, tire irons. I mean, they're going after all these people, and it's craziness. And we need governors and local mayors, like in Portland and Minneapolis, where I'm from, to have a little more balls and go out there and say enough is enough. You can't have these people doing this. Why in America this is going on blows my mind, that we're allowing people to go down the streets and throw bricks and sticks and just bash buildings and burn them down. It's just unbelievable. We're turning into a third world country. And for some reason, these Democrats are enjoying it. The Democrat Party loves violence. They say they don't. They pretend that they're the ones who care the most. They don't care the most. Look at the stuff they're doing. Look what they're allowing going out there. I mean, Biden gets in the presidency with, obviously, we know what happened in that election. There's no way this guy got 15 million more votes than Trump got. There's just no way. I mean, Trump just came. I was in Cleveland filming last week. He was just there, and there are tens of thousands. And he was just here in Florida and Sarasota. 78,000 people showed up. Biden's president right now. If he went out to do it, 7 people would show up. They don't care. They don't care. I don't call him the president in chief. He's the resident in chief. He's just. I mean, it's strange what we're doing to our country right now and letting it happen. And we need to stand up.
Yeah. And, I understand, even before I started this podcast, I said, man, I don't want to get involved in politics. I just want to stay out of that. But I started realizing you want to make a difference. You got to get involved in politics. And for anybody that cares about these issues, the breakdown of the nuclear family, what's going on in family court, divorce, tell them about the importance in getting involved in politics, Kevin, and why they need to keep an eye on what's going on.
Well, this country was founded on Judeo-Christian values. We get our laws from the Bible. I mean, that's where it all came from. So to say everything's political, everything is. We always have debates on it. And politics and religion go together for those various reasons. Thomas Jefferson, it's not in the Constitution, but he's the one who came up with the whole thing of separation of church and state. And the whole thing was to keep the government out of the church. But once again, look what the media has done. Look what the government has done. It's flipped that around now. And it was never meant to be that way. It was to let the churches be the churches and keep government out. But now the government is closing down. You see what's even going on in Canada right now. They're arresting pastors. The liquor store is essential. A strip club is essential. So my pastor, who was getting fined left and right because he opened up after the 15 days that we were only supposed to be, closing down to slow the spread. By the way, people doesn't slow the spread. It just lengthens it. Because it's normal. There are viruses out there. We can talk about this virus too, but you need herd immunity. I mean, Sweden never closed down. Sweden's doing just fine. Florida here, we barely wear masks here anywhere over the last year. Just a few places you got to wear them walking in, and then as soon as you sit down, you can take off the mask because the virus only hangs up here. It doesn't hang down here. It's just
I love Florida.
Behind it is just insanity. But politics is there, guys, and it's all part of life, and you can't be afraid of it. And that's what the press has done. They beat us down into submission, and that's what they want. And we got to fight back.
How much of this polarization and what's going on do you think the media is responsible for?
Oh, huge. I mean, they run 95% of everything right now. And I even see Fox changing right now. I mean, the only ones out there right now that really have more of a conservative bend is like OAN or Newsmax and stuff like that. So I get a lot and do interviews on there, but CNN would never have me on. CNN would be afraid of me because I would challenge them. They just want to follow around the president and see what kind of ice cream he's eating. I mean, that's like the real thing. When they ask Kamala Harris, who, by the way, 98% of Democrats didn't want her for president when she was running for the Democrat primary, yet she's a breath away now from becoming the first female president. You ask her a hard question, all she does is laugh. She just does a cackle because she doesn't know how to answer it, and it intimidates the hell out of her, and you can see it. But the media is such a huge part in this right now. Half the stuff that Biden's already done, if Trump did it, they would have attacked him. They would have gone after him. And they did it every day when he was president anyway. So he did some great stuff. He did some really good stuff for this country over and over again. But we are so divided right now as a country. And it's amazing what these high school and junior high school kids, they have no clue. And this cancel culture is insanity. I mean, I'm losing jobs now because, a dozen people calling, well, if he shows up, we're going to riot. And the people cave to it. And so, and now you, me, all of us, they can say anything about any of us. And we're guilty now before being proven innocent. It used to be the other way around. And it doesn't have to be true. And most of the times it's not. They can make up anything they want to say.
Oh, you're 100% right. I got to eat supper with Trump last week, and he was talking about some of the opposition that he faced. And I was like, man, I don't know how the guy did it, to be honest with you. I was watching an article on CNN or a video that they had made talking about where Trump puts his drinking glass to show his authority. And I was like, that's the trash that we've got for media right now, and some of the opposition and allegations that they'll make at you. Tell us some of the opposition that you've faced as a conservative actor, Kevin.
Plenty. I got to pop this up there. I just golfed with them not too long ago.
There you go.
Nice.
Who won?
I did.
Oh, did you? All right.
I just want to trigger some of your listeners.
Oh, it happened.
Yeah.
You got all upset about it. I'm sorry. What was your question again?
I was saying, tell us about some of the opposition that you face for standing up for your beliefs. I mean, we face this every single day, especially talking about the family law courts. I've noticed half of our politicians are attorneys, and we talk about the fatherless issue.
I think most of them are.
Over half. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
that's not the way it was set up. The whole deal about the Congress was supposed to be housewives and farmers and teachers and doctors and so they're all lawyers now. And all we need term limits, guys. The reason they don't teach civics in school anymore, and they haven't done it in decades, is they don't want us to teach kids that it's we the people. They don't want people to know that. So we need to get back to that because we need to get these bozos on both sides. We got a lot of rhinos on the right, that. But you know what? At the most, they get 8 years. If the president the most gets 8 years, that's the most what they get. And we do it in stages. I guarantee you, if you put this on the ballot, it would be overwhelmingly people would say, yes, let's get down to term limits. I think both sides would have to agree on that. Because these guys that have 40, 50 years career and they do nothing, it's pathetic. We need to boot these guys out.
I agree. And you see a lot of candidates when they run for office, they tout term limits, but as soon as they're elected and they get in there, nobody talks about term limits.
They do nothing. It's pretty much empty lies. Trump is the first guy in decades to come out and say, I'm going to do A, B, and C. And he did A, B, and C.
Right.
Otherwise, all they worry about is getting reelected, and they walk a thin line of, oh, don't say this. That might, that's going to make that person mad. Doesn't matter what you say. It's like being a referee in a basketball game. You can call a foul, okay? The people that like the call are going to go crazy. Then the other team that they called the foul, that wasn't a foul. I mean, you can't win. So you might as well be truthful and shed some light into the dark world we're living in right now.
I like what you said about we need to be as organized as the left is, because I think for 4 years while Trump was president, we were busy, relaxed, kicked back, celebrating, a bit apathetic about what was going on. And they were in the background and they were organizing. But you also said that you've lost events because 12 people have called and said, we're going to riot. Well, when critical race theory is going on, why aren't we as conservatives? And they are, but all showing up to these school board meetings? Why aren't we all taking back our government, taking back the education of our children, taking back the way that our court cases are litigated? Because there's a lot of judges out there who are no longer impartial. They're just political extensions. So go ahead.
But more people are doing it though, right?
More people are doing it.
More and more people going to school boards and just laying into these liberal socialists that are getting paid by our tax dollars to be, I don't know, it's insane. Tell me where socialism has worked. Tell me where it's been a utopia of everything. It only killed 100 million people in the last century. I mean, people are just, I don't want to say they're idiots. I think that they've been brainwashed. There's just a lack of knowledge of what the reality of that kind of world is. And I've heard people say, well, it was never done right before. I said, okay, it was never done right. Even Lenin, back during the Bolshevik Revolution, loved the liberals, loved the people on the left, because he said they were useful idiots. This is a guy that wanted that control over your lives. And unfortunately, too many people in our world here, especially in America, their lives didn't turn out the way they wanted, because it's your fault, it's God's fault, it's family fault. So what do? They want us to wallow in their misery. Misery loves company, right? So they want to suck us into the dark hole that they live in, when the reality is they need to wake up and look in the mirror and cue the Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror, do something with your life. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. What, the color of my skin made your life bad? Give me a break. This is insane that we got to go back now decades and centuries now to say, well, we were bad. Every country was bad. Every country was bad. Yeah. You think this country, if Europe didn't come over here, that the Russians or the Chinese wouldn't be in America now? You don't think people explode? Every country's been invaded through the history of man. And it's unfortunate we got to say that, but that's just the truth, guys. And I'm not a fan of war either, but every country has been overrun multiple times through the century. So wake up to reality and stop looking back for history to go after people that are living now that had nothing to do with that history back then.
Yeah. And speaking of socialism and communism, how does that contribute to the breakdown of the family, Kevin?
Well, you see played out every day.
Yeah.
When the black population of America had like the lowest divorce rate, lowest empty father nest in the country at around 20%. We passed in 1964. LBJ put in the whole civil rights thing and the whole thing that we'll take care of black women. And I'm sure they meant good with it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was a plan that they knew this would happen. But they said, you can't have a man in the house, though. The black population now is 80%. 80% of black kids are raised without a father. And you see what's going on in inner schools. You see what's going on in our inner cities. I mean, you see the violence, the gangs. Look what's going on in Chicago every week. This last weekend, I think it was 80 some shootings and 14 people killed. This goes on every single week. And yet nothing gets done about it. It's just, these are a lot of angry kids. And I feel horrible that they have to go through the lives they got to go through. We need to give them some hope. We need to give them some self-esteem. We need to give them something to look forward to instead of this, my life's not going to last past 21 years old. So they just have nothing but anger in their lives, and their family is the gang members that they're all part of. So we need to do something instead of sit back and let this carnage go on every single day. 4,100 shootings a year in Chicago. That's what the average is. 4,100. And so that's what it does on the day, every single day. For whatever reasons, weekends are the time to go out and really do most of the shooting. But what's the percentage of cops that are involved in those shootings? Less than 1%. 99.2% on average of shootings in Chicago alone are mostly black on black. And that 0.80% is what, when a police officer is involved, that's what the press goes after. Why is that? Why is that? They love to create the divisiveness. The press will constantly post lies, smear campaigns. And as I said, they don't have to have any truth to them. They go after people just to get a headline and just to cause more problems.
Yeah.
Shame on the press, by the way.
Well, and you've got other problems that are going on right now. I think this past weekend there was a court case that just went down. We've had the father on the show. He's got a gag order right now, Kevin. They said he can't speak about this. They have been trying to gender transition his son since he was 7. He's 9 now. Okay. They want to chop off his genitals, pump him full of hormones. And the courts have ruled in the mom's favor to let this happen several different times. Ted Cruz stepped in at one point, got the custody back to the father, but now it's going. I think this is one of the more popular cases, one of the more important cases since Roe v. Wade, because I think if we allow this to go through, you're going to start seeing it all across the nation. What shocks me, what absolutely just shocks me, is how many people are in favor of letting this child go through this gender transition at 9 years old.
That's a press again, and it's become such a huge issue now when it really only deals with such a very, very small percentage of the population. I don't have the answer to this other than I get tired of every day having to hear about it and having to they're just forcing things down our throat right now.
Shoved down your throat. Yeah.
And to me, it's like, we're confusing these kids at a very, very young age, and that to me is what makes it really sad. So I wish there was another avenue to go down there and help these kids out and see what's going on. But I understand it. I'm in a business that has a lot of gay people. They don't affect my lifestyle. You won't find. I've worked with many gay people in my life in Hollywood. You won't find one that say that I've attacked them or hurt them or gone after them. I'm a live and let live kind of guy. But we got the courts involved in doing this, and the parents doing what they're doing right now. This child, it's sad to me. I don't have all the answers for it, but this is the world we live in right now, and I just wish we'd get back to a little bit more of just getting past all the hate and anger and violence out there right now. That to me offends me more than anything else, and hurts me more than anything else. I just find it crazy what we're doing right now. We need to help people that have this whole thing that they need to go out and destroy other people's lives. We need to help those people and just say, okay, what do we need to do to make things better? They want to believe in socialism. I'm serious. We should say, here's an offer. We will spend our tax dollars. We'll send you to these other countries that you want this country to model after. Don't destroy America, what is founded. We became the greatest country in the world on individuals, not a big government. It was individuals that built this country, that had vision. I used to work at a country club. I didn't have any money. My dad was a school teacher. I'm the 4th of 5 kids. Anybody who knows public school teachers, they don't have money for 5 kids. So I asked these guys, all these guys I had were wealthy guys. I said, how did you get to where you are today? And they said, oh, I failed. And then I failed again. And then I failed some more. I'm a 12-year overnight success, they'd say. These are people I didn't give up. These are people I didn't blame everybody else for all the failures. They use failure as a positive instead of negative. And I'm going to go back to it again. I think a lot of people with their anger, they didn't want to work hard. They just wanted to, lay back to work for them, and they just gave up on life. And we got to find a way to motivate people again.
Yeah, I got one last question. Is, I agree with you on the media, and you have a lot of these communist nations have, state-run media. So we have a media-run state here in the United States. But it's people like you who are pulling away from the mainstream entertainment business, and you're putting out wholesome television shows. You're putting out movies that contain God. What would you tell our listeners and our followers? Where do they go for good, wholesome entertainment? Who do they follow, and who should they seek out when they're looking to, take their kids to movies?
Well, I think they should go to sorbos.org. Okay, Sorbos, SORBOS.org. Sign up. We got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline. We're always looking. See, the toughest thing for the movies that I do, the independent movies, that we don't have. You look at Avengers or Pirates of the Caribbean or Avatar, those are $300 million movies, right? Then they throw $100 million in to promote it. So they get their trailers in every football and basketball and baseball game and every TV show, their trailers and all the movies. They make you remember this movie's coming out next. We have to work really hard and just rely on word of mouth. There's 80 million homes out there, 80 million homes that want to have the products that I put out there. But 99% of them don't know that they're coming out because we don't have that. We're lucky if the movies I do in the 3 to 5 million range, and that's hard enough to raise money. And people think that's a lot. That's catering budget on Pirates of the Caribbean, And so we maybe have $1 or $2 million to get it out there somehow, somewhere. My movie God's Not Dead, that just exploded, and that word of mouth, and it just took off on its own. It's one of the most successful movies, dollar for dollar, in the history of Hollywood. But encourage people to follow what I'm doing on sorbos.org and, support us in any way you can by just leaving information there for us so we can keep you in the loop what's going on. Hopefully you spread the word for us, because that's the one good way to get movies out there that have a positive message. My movies aren't all just like you better believe in God. We just do movies that have a good message in there and have the good guy wins, not the bad guy wins. We're making bad guys heroes now. People that kill people and hurt people. We're saying, oh, aren't they great? No, they're not great. We need to get back to a place where we're not brainwashing kids, but showing the difference between light and dark and right and wrong.
And guys, I mean, if you want to see Hollywood stop doing this, making the dad the bumbling idiot, showing the breakdown of the family, glorifying affairs, which they do all the time in movies, you got to stop supporting it. Okay. You've got alternatives like this that really need your help, and we got to get the word out there. Kevin, anytime you got a movie coming out, brother, let us know. We'll definitely plug it for you.
We'll talk in September about Miracle in East Texas, definitely.
Let's do that. And I just want to say I appreciate you coming out again. Any more links? We got sorbos.org. Is there anywhere else people can keep up with you?
KevinSorbo.net is a good place to go. And I do a lot of cameos for people, because check me out on K-Sorbs on the Cameo. I think it's cameo.com/K-Sorbs. And I get a lot of people saying, hey, send me a prayer, say happy birthday to my mom or stuff like that. So there's people, it's interesting, the messages that people have asked me to do when they got, troubles in their life. And I'm not here to play a pastor for you all, but I'm here to hopefully give you a positive word.
There you go, man. Again, appreciate you coming and taking your time out of your day to come and share with our audience. And thank you for standing up for the United States of America and what you're doing. I know you face opposition as an actor there in Hollywood, but you are a trailblazer, my friend, and I appreciate it all.
I'd love to meet my trolls, because they know who I am. I don't know who they are. And I'm not looking for a fight with them. I'm looking to say, why are you doing what you're doing? Let's have a conversation. That's what I'd like to have, seriously.
I don't think they want to mess with Hercules.
No. I'm not out there for violence. I'm out there to find out what the heck is going on. Why can't I have a point of view that's different than yours? And you can have a different point of view, but let's at least have a discussion about it. But I think, these are people that I think really they're unhappy with their lives, and they want to attack me and attack you. And, they threat violence to me, and I'm going, wow, they keep them up on Twitter and Facebook, but they take me down for posting the truth. It's quite interesting. Anyway, guys, I do got to run. I got one other interview, and then I'm going to go work out. Still work out every day, guys. It's good for you.
There you go. Hey, Kevin, I appreciate it again, my man.
God bless
Thanks,
everyone.
Kevin.
Take care.